We start the show with one race that has been decided. Arizona voters overwhelmingly approve protecting the right to an abortion in the state constitution. Prop 139 is winning by 61% to 39%. So, what comes next?
The voters and the citizens of a state vote to codify reproductive freedom in their state constitution, and they immediately try to nullify that. They immediately come back to say, you know what, the voters' ideas weren't good enough. We think we know better, and they will use whatever levers they have.
I spoke with Alexis McGill-Johnson, Chief Executive of Planned Parenthood, during a voter canvass in Tempe. Johnson told me that Arizona's vote to protect a woman's right to abortion in the state constitution would not be the last word. It might take a while before women in Arizona can fully exercise that right. Chris Love, a lead organizer for the Arizona for Abortion Access Initiative, joins us to discuss why the initiative succeeded and what has to happen before women are protected. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thanks for having me.
And congratulations. You've been working this for many, many years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't be more proud of the campaign that we won. Finally. It's been a long road.
And so how did Arizona swing from a state with some of the toughest anti-abortion laws in the country to a state that's on the verge of the right, giving women the right to an abortion? Was it just the Dobbs decision? Was there more at play?
Well, I think the Dobbs decision was a major motivating factor. But I think we found in talking to Arizonans from across the political spectrum and every demographic group that you can think of, that protecting abortion rights and abortion access is just popular in our state. And so that's why we moved forward with this initiative. And now it's going to be codified in our state constitution. So I'm really excited.
So the election shows it's popular. Prop 139 will win with more than 60% of the vote. Yet the ballot measure had no coattails for Democratic candidates. And exit polls show that Arizona had the narrowest gender gap among women voters and even male voters among all the swing states. 52% voted for Kamala Harris, 48% for Donald Trump. Why do you think there were no coattails?
Well, I think that our campaign was solely focused on talking to voters from across the political spectrum, right? And we did our job. We were solely focused on passing Prop 139. And the other groups that were out there, including repro organizations, democracy protecting organizations, they were kind of out there trying to connect the dots for voters. If their values included protecting abortion access, then there were candidates up and down the ballot that would also share those values. Unfortunately, that just didn't seem to pan out on election night.
So you're saying this wasn't the job of the initiative organizer to do that, others handled that load.
Right. And so, we were hopeful, right? We wanted to trust Arizona voters to make the appropriate decisions for them and vote their values, and that's what they did.
So let's talk about what comes next, because you can't just snap your fingers, I don't think, and make this law, well, even with voters' approval. What's the process for Prop 139 to become law and allow women to exercise that right?
Right, so we'll have a 5-day period where the election can actually be challenged by statute. Then at the end of this month, there will be a canvass and the governor will actually certify the results. And at that point, she will sign on the dotted line and all of the initiatives that passed in this last election will become law. However, there are still 40 plus laws and regulations on the books related to abortion access. Now, our campaign won't be challenging those in courts, but there are stakeholders who believe in reproductive rights and protecting democracy that will challenge those abortion access barriers.
And so why isn't Governor Hobbs' signature the last word?
Well, I think it's the last word to get the thing in the Constitution. However, there will be a legal process. There may be challenges to the constitutionality of our constitutional amendment.
Right off the bat, there could be that challenge.
Right. So, what Alexis McGill-Johnson said is exactly true. There will be barriers put up at every stage to keep the state from realizing reproductive freedom, but we're built for the challenges, right?
A spokeswoman for the It Goes Too Far campaign, which opposed the initiative, told Axios Phoenix, quote, "The fight against extreme abortion laws will continue." Kathy Herod's involved in that group. She's been the leading anti-abortion spokesperson in the state for years. You expect her to just take on, to try to stand in the way?
Listen, I won't prognosticate about what the other side will do, but I will say that abortion is a winning issue. We experienced another election night where abortion won when it was on the ballot across the country. And so I think what, we can say is, bring it, Kathy. We have the people of Arizona on our side, and we are up for the challenge.
And so you're saying outside groups will have to go to court to overturn existing laws, starting with the current ban on abortion after 15 weeks.
Right. And then I think that those stakeholders will meet together and prioritize what other barriers they would like to attack. Right. So we have things like a 24-hour waiting period. We have a ban against mailing abortifacients. We have a telehealth ban. They'll take a look at those and prioritize where they would like to see those laws be repealed.
Could there just be this kind of war in the courts that goes on for weeks or months?
I mean, that's always a possibility with every ballot initiative that we have in the state of Arizona. And we, have prepared for this from the beginning.
You have a good legal fund?
Yes, we do. We have a legal fund that will get us through the challenges to exactly Prop 139. And then the other groups that will come and challenge the 40+ laws, they will have to fund that themselves.
So it might be months before this law takes effect.
Listen, I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hope that when the governor signs on the dotted line, we will have the Arizona Abortion Access Act in our state constitution.
We'll leave it there. Chris Love of Arizona for Abortion Access, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.